Most people are using Claude projects completely wrong because they open it, give it a name, and then just start typing. So, what they're missing is that the difference between Claude delivering like a brilliant protege or a bored intern is not the prompt. It is knowing the right setup instructions for the project so you can unlock its potential. So, instead of that flat AI speak that you have to spend hours fixing, you get a draft that you can actually use. So let me show you the before and after on this so you can see the difference for yourself. Okay, we're in our demo without instructions project, and the ask is write me a 200-word email announcing a summer sale for my eco-friendly clothing brand. Okay, let's see what it gives us. Okay, so it drafted a subject line, summer's here, so our best prices of the year, a little emoji. It tells us eco-friendly styles because that's what I told it in the prompt. Shop the summer sale and a PS here and suggests our logo. Now let's see how this changes when we add instructions. So I've switched projects, same exact prompt. Let's see what we get. So with the instructions, we get 5 choices of subject lines because we asked for that. And then look at the difference in this email. It's actually giving completely different imagery. It's focused on the buyer. We're getting something where it's drawn from the brand instructions that I gave it, and it's recommending an image. So the instructions shape the output that actually gives us something that's much more usable rather than letting Claude just make up the details. So if you're leaving that instructions box empty, you are not getting the full benefit of using Claude projects. Even if you upload a whole bunch of files and say, read these every single time, it's kind of like giving Claude the box of Legos, but not the manual. It's going to build you something, but probably not what you were hoping for. The way I like to think about project instructions is that they act like a standing prompt. So the good ones have all the same elements, the role, the task, the output. So here's the template I like to use when I create project instructions. I use the acronym AACTOR, actor. Just notice that it has 2 A's, okay? So the first A is act as, and you'll recognize that from prompts. So this is the role you want AI to assume. So if you're working for clients, it's actually your role. Act as an HR consultant, act as a business consultant. If you're trying to get a different point of view, then this is where that goes, okay? So by default, when you start a conversation, Claude has almost no personalized context, even given your memories and what you've already set up. So when you write act as a product manager, act as a tech founder, this is what tells it how it should reason and what assumptions to make and what to prioritize as it goes through basically all the information that there is. Different roles are going to get different answers. Here's an example. Let's say we ask Claude to summarize a contract. So, as a business owner, we might want the overall gist, maybe tell us the risks, the next steps. But if you were an associate at a law firm, you would want line by line analysis. So, by telling Claude to act as that business owner or act as that associate, it's going to pull different things out of the information that you've given it. So our second day is audience. So to continue the example, you're going to use different language and a different level of depth if you're talking to a room full of business people versus lawyers, or even if you were talking to serious athletes versus the couch to 5K people. If you do nothing but include act as an audience in your instructions, you're going to dramatically reshape your output because those two work together to get you very different results than what it would have without them. Now, the one additional instruction I would encourage you to use every time, in addition to act as an audience, is context. But we want to keep this to 5 to 10 bullet points max. So, if you're creating a project for a client deliverable, this is not where you're going to put the proposal or the style guide or everything you know about that client. That's where you're going to want to attach a file. So, in the instructions, what we want to do is stick to the business the client is in and maybe the end goal of the project. So, this next one is T. It stands for task. And if your project is actually built around a single client and you're going to do a lot of different tasks in there, you're not going to want to put this in the instructions because you're going to put whatever you're working on in the prompt. But if you have a project that you use to do the same thing over and over, like I have one I use to do my YouTube packaging, it helps me write hooks and titles and thumbnails. So since it's the same task over and over, that's something that I would put in the instructions. The same goes for our next one, O. So O stands for output. And it's also dependent on the purpose of the project, just like task. So what you do with this is describe the format and the level of detail you want. So let's say you have a project that you use to develop workshops and you want the output to be the same every time. So you might say, for every workshop we do, I want a 15 slide deck, a document with talking points, and a PDF workbook. So you're really scoping out what the end goal is. This last one, R, stands for rules. And this is where you want to put non negotiables. So I generally have three that I use. One is always load my context files at the beginning of each session. So that's like my brand voice and my ideal client profile. And then I say, always ask user questions until you're 98% confident you can complete the task successfully. And then finally, I say always create a plan first and then wait for approval before building anything. And that just keeps Claude from running amok without me seeing what it wants to do first. So altogether, that spells actor, and that's how I remember it when I go to write instructions. But remember that you are welcome to leave any of these out. Sometimes you want Claude to have more specificity, and sometimes you want it to have more flexibility. And so your role as the orchestrator of all of this is to fine tune it until you are getting content that is actually usable, preferably the first time out of the gate. So the upside of using instructions is when you put in the work up front by creating this list, you're saving yourself hours on the back end because what you're getting is actually usable from the beginning, not something where you're wondering if you could have just done it faster without AI. So I just want to show you what the actor template looks like in practice, filled in with the exact instructions I used for that email that I demoed at the very beginning of this video. So act as an award-winning copywriter. By the way, I don't know if award-winning or world-class does anything, but it seems to be best practice, so I just go ahead and put it in, okay? Audience, for eco-conscious moms, 28 to 45. This is really going to dial in the language that it uses and maybe even the specificity around the imagery. For context, I explained, instead of just saying up here in the prompt, eco-friendly clothing brand, eco-friendly brand with minimalist coastal aesthetic. So you could put anything here. And remember, this is where we want to be tight. If we've got a whole brand summary, what's something we're going to put in files that we upload. But this can, again, just all by itself, give shape to the copy. So for task, output, and rules, I went ahead and included those because the demo assumption was that we would have one project that did nothing but write sales emails. So I basically told it, this is the task that we're trying to do every single time. I want you to recommend an image to accompany the email. And I talked about what specifics I wanted to include. Output, short, punchy copy, playful tone, US audience, and then finally, the rules. Don't exceed 300 words, include a CTA, put 5 subject line options for each email. Now, a common mistake here is to overload the instructions, but you're actually going to get better results if you make it short and to the point and use the instructions to reference other longer files, okay? I put this whole template in the description of the video. You can just grab the link down there. Now, if you're looking for a few powerful use cases for Claude projects, like building a client brain or a proposal writer or a workshop wizard, I walk you through how to set those up step by step in this video right here.